York Jets wide receiver Malik Taylor has officially suffered a season-ending injury. He was trending in the right direction. There was a chance that he made the Jets' 53-man roster, and a corresponding move, the New York Jets signed UFL defensive tackle Jeremy Twyman. What does this mean for the New York Jets moving forward? It is a Sunday edition of NY Flight Jets Talk, and we are live.
J-E-T-S, Jets, let's go.
Jets wide receiver Wesley Walker. Wesley, how you doing today? ESPN writer Mr. Rich Samini, Jets reporter for The Athletic, Mr. Zach Rosenblatt, Hall of Famer and Jets legend Mr. Marty Lyons.
Your host, Connor Law.
Welcome in, everyone. We are here. It is the second show of the day. Earlier, we had Antoine Staley of the New York Daily News on here. We're coming to you live with a bit of a, breaking news show. Not the best news for New York Jet fans. It has been confirmed by Zach Rosenblatt of The Athletic that wide receiver Malik Taylor has suffered a season-ending injury in a corresponding move. The Jets signed UFL defensive tackle Jeremy Twyman. We're going to get into what it means for the Jets moving forward. Let's just say what's up to everyone in the chat. Highlight Haven, good to see you. Jesse White, good to see you in the chat. Oscar, good to see you. Malik Taylor was the one. Malik Taylor suffered the season-ending injury. Yes, Highlight Haven, Malik Taylor suffered the season-ending injury for the New York Jets. Personally, I was pretty high on Taylor. I really like him. I thought he had a legit shot to make the Jets roster. However, this is definitely not the news you want. I mean, he played 2 years in Green Bay with Aaron Rodgers. He's an undrafted free agent. Definitely not great news for the Jets. In a corresponding move, they signed UFL defensive tackle Jeremy Twyman. Now, Twyman played for the San Antonio Brahmins in 2023. That's a UFL team who's drafted by the Vikings in the 6th round 2021 NFL draft. He spent 2 years with them before signing to the Dolphins practice squad. And, despite that, he has yet to play an NFL game in his career. I think this is nothing more than a camp body for the Jets, but, maybe someone, who knows? Who knows? We've seen crazier things in Jetland. Definitely something to take note of, though. Malik Taylor, definitely trending in the right direction. He was having a great training camp when Xavier Gipson was injured. He capitalized on every opportunity. So that's stack good sound. Am I muted? You guys hear me now? What about now? Is this better? Put in the chat if you guys can hear me now. Let me know if this is better. Let's see on my end. Hello, testing, 1, 2, 1, 2. Put in the chat if you guys can hear me. Experiencing some sound difficulties, chat is saying. Let me know. Coming in and out. Okay, let's try this. We'll try this. How does this work? Is this better? Let me know in the chat if this is better. I have converted microphones, it looks like. Yes, sir. There it is. Perfect. So let's get back into the chat. Jets, Giants, Dan Perza from Malik Taylor. Yeah, definitely a bad break for the Jets. And like I mentioned, I definitely think he had a legit chance to make the roster. He played 2 years in Green Bay with Hackett and Rodgers. The coaching staff seemed to really trust Taylor. He's experienced playing on special teams. He could definitely have helped the Jets there. They signed him to reserve slash future contracts in January of 2024 this year. Definitely not what you want to see. Wildwave, good to see you in the chat. Jesse says, who's going to fill a spot, or would they get depth at another position? So, like I said, in the corresponding move, the Jets signed defensive tackle Jeremy Twyman. In terms, are you referring to making the 53-man roster? Well, he wasn't a lock for the roster. He was trending in the right direction. He wasn't a lock, though. I mean, honestly, if the Jets really liked him and they thought they were going to give him a roster spot, I'd expect it to go to another defensive lineman, whether that would be Eric Watts, Brandon McGregor, Leonard Taylor. That would be my guess there. But that you could go in all different types of directions. Maybe this opens the door for locks in Irv Charles or Brandon Codrington. I'd really like that. If they could use it for that, or get another pass rusher. Another pass rusher would be great as well. Like I mentioned earlier. Taylor went undrafted in the 2019 class, signed by the Bucks. He did not play with them though. Then he went to the Packers and played 2 years there. Did fine. Rodgers seemed to like him there. He had a nice. First saw Taylor on the Jets in that Hall of Fame game. Zach Wilson threw it. He had a great completion to him. But this is, like I said, not the news you want to hear as a New York Jet fan. Trending in the right direction there. But it definitely opens the door for opportunities like other receivers. Like I said, Irv Charles. This might be what Irv Charles. I mean, he did go down with an injury. He did go down with an injury last night, but Antoine Staley of the New York Daily News, who I had on earlier, said it's nothing major. This might open the door for a player like Charles, or may help out. It's slim, but maybe a guy like a Brendan Smith, Tyler Harrell. I don't know about Harrell, but maybe like a Lance McCutcheon type guy. One of those names, it should definitely help out. But I could definitely see them going in that pass rusher direction. Like I said, maybe it's something like an Izzy Abanikanda they choose to carry for running backs instead. They could go in a lot of different directions here. A lot of different directions. Maybe it's carrying four. You could add another player at any position. That's the great thing about this Jets roster. They're so flexible. It's a good problem to have that you have too many good players. It's a great problem to have at that. Anyone wants to call into the show, give their reaction on the news, that would be the pinned comment in the chat. Like I said, pinned comment in the chat if you're just joining in. Breaking news today is that Malik Taylor, Jets wide receiver, has suffered a season-ending injury. Depletes the Jets. Honestly, if I had to make a prediction now, if who the roster spot would go to, I'd say it would be one of the rookie. I'd say it would be one of the undrafted free agents, Eric Watts, Leonard Taylor, or Brady McGregor. Definitely think that's. I think if when all said and done, I think that roster spot, if he was to make the roster, would go to one of those guys, maybe a special teamer. Because Taylor would have contributed on special teams if he was to make the roster. Opens the door for an Irv Charles type guy. Oscar the Grouch, good to see you. Connor, I'll be honest with you, buddy. That game yesterday made me fall asleep on my couch watching it. Yeah. It was, for a casual fan, I'm not calling anyone a casual fan, but unless you're really dialed into football, it's definitely not a fun game. It was an Austin Seibert field goal fest. That's what I'd call it. But there were some players who stood out. Like I like to see Codrington the way he played. I like to see Isaiah Davis. A lot of the rookies, that guy Shamar Bartholomew, a couple nice pass breakups. He won't make the roster, but still get to see some flashes. JBC went down, but before he went down, he had a great game. We saw Irv Charles get to a punt before he went down. He didn't. It's funny enough, he didn't even affect the punt. He was right in the guy's face. He didn't even affect the punt. But yeah, it was scoring wise, it was definitely boring. I mean, Adrian Martinez had that great throw to Zach Kuntz. Kuntz couldn't get the feed in. Definitely not what you want to see there. I was getting flashbacks to the Gase the amount of penalties we took. Yeah, in regards to the penalties, the one that stood out to me most was the Fashanu holding call, because Fashanu was actually going to make the roster. So he cleaned it up, though. I thought he played fine at right tackle when all was said and done. I thought Carter Warren also had a penalty. Yeah, the penalties, the Jets cleaned it up as the game went on, but to start, yeah, the penalties definitely were not great. Not great at all. Not great. You just gotta. The thing with the preseason, though, Oscar, is you want to just see the young players play well. Saw that with Brandon Codrington. We saw that with Leonard Taylor, Brandon McGregor, Eric Watts, everyone. That's what you want to see. Like, these preseason games aren't meant to be won. Yes, you would yes, entertaining games are good. Penalties are things definitely watch, things you could clean up. Right now, it's not about winning. It's about developing these young pieces. 100%. Yeah, Taylor, God, he was having such a good camp before he went down. I thought he was going to make the roster. I really thought he was going to make the roster. Really did. Went down. He went down. Here it is. Let me pull Zach Rosenblatt's tweet up right here. Get it on the screen. Boom, right there. There it is. Zach Rosenblatt. Jets signed defensive lineman Jalen Twyman and placed wide receiver Malik Taylor on the injury reserve, which ends Taylor's season. Taylor was trending towards pushing for a spot on the 53 before his injury. Undrafted free agent. Put together himself a fine career for an undrafted free agent. Just hope he got a bounce back after that. Let's see. What else do we got? Chef Kevin, good to see you in the chat. Connor, how'd you like Clemens' production? Great show, man. I appreciate it. In regards to Clemens' production, thought it was fine. He's going to make the roster anyways, so we can't really complain too much about it. But, the main question regarding the defensive line is really when Hassan Reddick is going to show up, because I don't think McDonald and Michael Clemens can fill the shoes of Hassan Reddick, who has double-digit sacks the past 4 seasons, recorded 16 sacks in 2022, finished 4th in Defensive Player of the Year voting. I don't think anyone could really do that. I think the main key to the defensive line is literally just getting Reddick back. Get that deal done. Get it done. However, like I mentioned, I like the Jets are holding their ground. He just needs to show up. Once Reddick shows up, I think this team is, goes from top 5, top 4 defense to a top 3, top 2. He makes them that much better. But, Clemens' production just go up from last season. His rookie season 2 years ago, he was actually like a solid rotational piece of the defense, and then 2023 we just saw it go downhill. But between him, his ability to slide in and play inside definitely helps him. That's going to help him get playing time, because he could slide in, be depth on the inside as well. Let's see. I'm going to pull up his PFF grades from preseason so far. Okay. So 2024 preseason, his PFF grades. Let's see. Okay. Overall PFF grade of 61.5, 53.8 run defense grade, and a 67.3 pass rush. So they're all mediocre compared to. Let's see what his rookie season was his best season his whole career, 2 years. His numbers from his rookie season were really solid. 78.7 overall, 86.4 run defense, 58.6 pass rush. Really solid rookie season. Didn't do it much during his sophomore campaign. Very uneventful. 3rd season in the league. He had to, he put on weight. He put on a lot of weight last offseason because he knew he was going to need to be used as depth on the inside. It's going to be interesting to see where they play him more. Expect kind of more of an increased role on the outside, especially with Reddick. Sorry about that. Back to what I was saying, I would expect an increased role on the outside rather the inside there. But Clemens is definitely going to be a player to watch, especially given who the Jets added on the inside as well as the outside between Leonard Taylor, Eric Watts, Brandon McGregor, Lecky Fotu, Javon Kinlaw. It's going to be really interesting to just see this revamped actually defensive line as a whole. Oscar the Grouch coming back in. I'm personally counting Rodgers out for the Giants game. Everyone is relatively healthy so far, including the O-line. Don't brother messing up the flow of everything. I have to disagree with you there. I want to see him for at least one series or two. I want to see him for a series or two. I mean, coming off of an ACL injury, hasn't played in preseason. Want to see him at least for a series or two. I'm not asking for a quarter. I'm not asking for a half. I'm not asking for a full game. A series or two. Get him on the field with the offense. I want to just see all the ones play together for at least one drive. I want to see what that looks like before we head into week 1. Obviously, it's going to look great. It's just you want to see what it looks like before you take the field against the Niners on Monday Night Football, week 1. So, I want all the ones out there for at least one series. So, yeah, I want Rodgers playing a little. Let's see. Oscar again. Let's just beat the Giants by a touchdown and some field goals and move on to the regular season. Tough fire. Honestly, like I said, I don't care about preseason wins, really. Yes, it would be great to go 3-0 in the preseason. We could say we're 4-0 in 2024 heading into week 1. It'd be great, but I'm more focused on these young developmental pieces. Like, I'd rather see, good games out of players like Brownlee, Gibson, Corley, Codrington, Davis, Allen. I'd rather see good games out of those guys than a loss. Rather, we're just using, veteran pieces that are going to automatically – not necessarily veteran pieces, but players we already know are going to make the roster. The older guys just make plays. I'd rather see the young guys showcase their ability, the undrafted free agents, Leonard Taylor, Brandon McGregor, Eric Watts. I want to see all those guys. Tack McKinley's another name to watch. Lucky Fotu hasn't really shown a ton. Clemens, those guys. I want to see the young stars shine in preseason. I'd rather see that than a win. Oscar again. Me too. Oh, you're referring to Rodgers playing the one or two series in the preseason. I just don't think coach is even willing to take that risk. Well, I think it's really Rodgers' choice. If Rodgers wants to play, I think they're gonna let him play. If he wants to play, I think they're gonna let him play. I really think they're letting him. They're giving him the choice there. I think they're giving him the choice there. I don't think Salah's made the decision for him. Let's see, Jersey Jets still standing on Jets 31, Niners 17. Can't wait. Hope so. I mean, nothing would beat that. Nothing would beat that. Nothing would beat that. Week 1 W. Imagine we won the last preseason game too, 5-0. Here's the thing: even if the Jets were to lose the first regular season game, against the 49ers, they still have a lot more. I mean, after that, they have an easy schedule, relatively really easy schedule until that Texans game. Here, I'm actually gonna let me pull it up here. Let's see what we got. I mean, I'm for the sake of this exercise, is in terms of predicting the record for the games early on. Say they lose to the 49ers. Let's say they lose to the 49ers. They have the Titans, Patriots, Broncos, Vikings, Bills, who they could definitely beat. Steelers, that's a shaky matchup. I think they could definitely beat them though. Patriots and I look at every team on this Jets schedule, and there's not one team I look at and I'm like, oh my god, I'm afraid of them. I think all 17 games the Jets have a chance to win. I'm not. They're not going to win 17 games. I hope they do, but I don't. Realistically, they're not going to win 17 games. I think they have a floor of 10 games, a ceiling of 13. See them winning 11 or 12 games this season. But yeah, after that, I mean, the Steelers game is definitely one I think might give them a little bit of trouble. But if they could beat the Niners, they're in line they could start off 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6-0. 6-0 heading into play the Steelers on Sunday Night Football. Yeah, that's what it is. Sunday Night Football. And then after that, if the Patriots, which should be a win. Texans is going to be a tough game on Halloween. They're home though, that definitely helps. Cardinals, Colts, Seahawks, they'll split with the Dolphins. They'll beat the Jaguars, the Rams, and split with the Bills. I think it's with the Wild Wave. Yeah, I agree with that assessment. Floor is 10, ceiling's probably 13 to 14. I think 14's pushing it a lot. I think 13 is ceiling. I think 13's the max we could win. Again, like I said, you look at the schedule, you could say the team is floor is 13 wins. People might call you crazy for it. But again, teams, not every game is just based on statistics. If you think about it, teams win games they're not supposed to win and lose games they're not supposed to lose. Game of football, that's what happens. No one predicted the Jets to get swept by that. Well, no, they didn't get swept. They won Week 18, but no one predicted the Jets to lose to the Patriots Week 3 of last year. I mean, there are crazy things that have happened. You never know what's going to happen in these games. You could look and maybe the Jets lose to hopefully not, but maybe the Jets lose to the Titans in Week 2, one of the easiest games on their schedule. Maybe they get swept by the Patriots. I hope that does not happen. Don't claim me for that. I hope that does not happen. There's a possibility. Anything is possible in the game of football, especially NFL football. Stack. I guess Rodgers can't get back at Jihad Ward until London. He's on the. Let's see. Is he on the? Yes, he is on the Vikings now. Well, that's gonna be interesting. That's definitely gonna be that's gonna be like a storyline that no one really knows about going into London. Imagine he does the same thing, it takes a couple steps and pushes him again. Wow, that'll definitely be interesting. But going back to what Wild Wave said, that's the game of football right there. Teams win games they're not supposed to win and lose games they're not supposed to lose. Everyone, yeah, really appreciate you joining me. We might wrap here in a couple of minutes. If you want to call in, last chance, pin comment in the chat. Just let me make sure I have it pinned and it didn't disappear. Yep, have it pinned. So pin comment in the chat if you'd like to call into the show. Submit your final questions before we wrap here. Just joining in, Malik Taylor, New York Jets wide receiver, has suffered a season-ending injury. New York Jets sign UFL defensive tackle Jalen Twyman to a one-year deal. Definitely hurts the Jets. Not great. Final questions, submit in the chat. Really appreciate everyone watching. The Jets look to, show another, have a successful preseason game against the Giants, and gotta hope for the best. Really, just entering 2024, season's approaching. Daniel, I have 49ers 27, Jets 14. We're still so far out. Like, a lot of things can happen. I think like this Ayuk thing is huge for the matchup. If Reddick is there and Ayuk is not, I definitely think the Jets have an increased chance to win that game. The Jets still have a chance to win the game. Like, here's the thing. I know a lot of fans wanted the big game week 1, and I know a lot of fans wanted an easier game week 1. Personally, I wanted the easier game week 1, but I take the bright spot out of it as this. Jets have a better chance. First off, you look at the Jets, veteran-based team, win-now team. They do have some very nice young players, very, very nice good young players. Veteran-based team. Some of these players have had health issues in the past. I'd rather play the 49ers early in the year, get the game out of the way, get that tough game out of the way, play it when we have the players like Tyron Smith healthy. I mean, I think that's the way you got to look at it. You play it with a fully healthy roster, hopefully fully healthy roster going into week 1. That's what the hope is for this 49ers game. Niners are banged up. O-line isn't looking that good. Trent Williams holding out on their left guard is hurt too. Yeah. Definitely people, when the schedule came out, people were like, oh my God, the 49ers are going to slaughter the Jets. There's so much that could happen from May all the way to September. There's so much that could happen from today, August 18th, until the Jets play the 49ers. There's so much that could happen. And we're less than a month out of the game. About 3 weeks. I think 3 weeks we are out from the game. So yeah, a ton could happen since from today's from today all the way until the matchup. But everyone, really appreciate you watching. We'll give it a minute and a half. We get to the 25 mark, and just submit your final questions. Really appreciate everyone tuning in here. Very impromptu. I literally just clicked go live, didn't schedule anything, saw the news, wanted to break it to you guys. We had a show earlier on the day, Antoine Staley of the New York Daily News at 2 p.m. Definitely recommend going to check that out once we wrap here. We're going to wrap right now, actually. Everyone, thank you guys for watching. And as always, JTS Jets.